how unique it was. It was, not a lot of people could do it. And for me, that was like, that really drew me in, like doing something different that not everyone else did because I wasn't breathing. So I took a breath and then, woke up and then I saw the medical people around me and they were just about to put an oxygen mask on me. And I was like, no, no mask.
Hello and welcome to Essentially Sports. Today we have the honor of speaking with an extraordinary athlete from the synchronized swimming world. She has not only dazzled herself in the pool but also inspired countless lives. But what makes her stand out is her strive to fight, as she overcame one of her biggest fears to chase her dreams. I would like to introduce to you, all of you, Anita Alvarez. So, welcome to Essentially Sports.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. First of all, congratulations for your qualification to Paris Olympics. How does it feel?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited. Especially, this is going to be my third Olympics around, but it's going to be my first time with a full team competing in the team event. So, yeah, I'm super stoked for, myself to have made it to three Olympics now, but also for my entire team to get to experience their first Olympic games. So I'm super excited.
Yeah. How has the training been so far? I mean, I recently watched one of your interviews where you said that you train from like it's a full day shift. Like you start at 6:30 and then it goes on till 2:33. So how has the training been so far?
Yeah, training's been pretty intense as you can expect leading up to the Olympics. Yeah, our schedule is pretty intense. We usually start at 6 a.m. So, that means up at before 5 a.m. In the fours. And then we're at the pool until about 2:30 p.m. So, yeah, full day, full-time job at the pool. We have a few little breaks in there, but otherwise we're just training the whole time. And, leading up to the games right now, it's a lot of detail work. So we're fine-tuning all the last pieces so that we can be at our best in Paris. So.
Right, right. And considering that you have a lot of experience when it comes to Olympics compared to Rio and Tokyo, do you think that the competition has increased a lot?
Um, Definitely. And it's changed a lot too. There's been a change in our scoring system. So the way that our sport is judged has completely changed. Actually, this year is the first or the second year now of the actual change. So it's very different in that sense. And in general, the level just keeps elevating. It's still a fairly young new sport. So every year, the athletes are just leveling up and leveling up and leveling up. So it keeps getting harder, and the competition level is just, at the top that it's ever been right now. So it's also makes it even more exciting for our sport.
Right. And considering the amount of competition that has increased, do you think that, I mean, obviously Bill may not qualifying for Paris Olympics roster. What do you feel about that? I mean, he has one of the biggest contributions in the sport. So why was this decision taken?
Yeah, I mean, as an athlete's perspective, I'm not the one to be asking about the final decision, but it was hard. There was going to be a hard decision no matter what. There were 12 of us in the squad who qualified the team, and unfortunately, they had to, select eight with a ninth as the alternate. So, I think everyone was fighting for their spots, and I think I've loved having Bill May as a teammate. He's such an inspiration in so many ways, um, and it's been such an honor to swim alongside him. And yeah, we just have to carry on and trust that the best decision was made for this team to perform their best in Paris and keep moving forward.
So any standout memory or moment that you could share with us with Bill that you had throughout your career?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess like one of the first times I really met him and got to see him swim in person was in 2015 when they first added the mixed duets back into, or first allowed men to compete in the World Championships in the mixed duet event. So that was his first time competing at the World Championships, and I got to watch and witness him win the gold medal, a gold and a silver medal, but gold medal even more exciting. Just being a part of the team in the duet at that time, we were in 10th, 11th, 12th place. So to see them win gold just put a whole nother level of like fire and hope in my eyes that it's possible, and to get to watch him on the podium and hear our national anthem and watch our flag being raised. was just so special. And back from day one, he was always so friendly and energetic and just a kind soul. And he's lived up to that every point of being a teammate alongside him. So getting to watch him from the outside and then knowing him as as someone I look up to then being a teammate, and getting to train with him every day was a really cool experience, because he's just always been that high energy, um, light in our lives. So it's been really cool.
That's great. I'm really glad that you could have like compete with him side to side.
Mhm.
So, while we are talking about the competition and everything, recently for Paris, the USA Olympic team was sponsored by Nike and Ralph Lauren. How was your experience working with the brands?
Yeah, my experience has been great so far in the past two Olympics. We always get such. I mean, first of all, we get tons of, outfitting. I feel so spoiled every time I get it. I still find things in my closet that from like Rio from 2016 that I've never worn. Actually,
Yep,
this one is from 2016. Um,
yep, I
and so
remember.
yeah, and so it's been really cool to be a part of Team USA as a whole, because in USA Artistic Swimming we haven't always gotten that level of sponsorship and things. So it's cool to be partnered with them, and they always come out with cool, trendy, new, like very unique stuff that is always like a hot commodity in the Olympic Village. Like athletes always come to USA building to trade gear, because we always get some
Right.
really cool stuff. So it's yeah, it's
Yeah.
been great so far.
So talking about sponsorships, I mean, recently, if you were aware, a lot of sports have started to pay out the athletes for like medals or whatever position that they place in the trials. So just wanted to understand, how is the scene in USA swimming? Are the athletes paid out well? Like, are the swimmers paid out well?
So I mean, in artistic swimming, it's a little bit different, right? We definitely like all of our World Cup, World Championships, all those competitions. There is prize money involved, and based on your rank, you get that prize money allotted to you. But of course, it is a team event, so we're splitting it among all the swimmers, right? Whereas if it's a regular swimming and they win, first place for that amount, they get that athlete gets that money. Or I'm not really sure how it works. I guess in every other sport, but for us, yeah, USA Artistic Swimming allows the athletes to get 100% of the earnings of our prize money, which I think is pretty awesome, because not everyone does that.
Yeah,
And then outside of that, sponsorships, it's tough, especially as an Olympic athlete. Some sponsors and brands think that, it's once every 4 years, so they reach out during that Olympic year leading up to the Olympic Games, and then that's all they want. But really, our jobs are going every day for 4 years leading up to that point. So, and we're competing at the highest level at World Championships and World Cups and Pan American Games and all of that. So, yeah, I definitely find it difficult sometimes to keep those, to get those long term partnerships and deals going. But I think the more our sport keeps elevating and the more, um, you know, people tune in this summer at the Olympics, to artistic swimming, then the more brands and sponsors will reach out and want to make the deal happen, because yeah, we'll have a bigger viewing and a wider audience in the sport.
yeah, correct. So any new brand deals, any projects that you're coming up with, like if you could give us any sneak peek into it.
Yeah. I mean, our team sponsor, main one that we work with is Turbo. It's the brand, like it's like similar to Speedo, Tier, all those ones, so that they provide our training suits, our track suits, our main outfitting for our team. Um, Outside of that, mostly some small things here and there. Billy is a product line that has body wash, deodorants, razors, kind of all that stuff that they started working with our team a bit, which has been pretty cool. We did a deal with Tresemme for a few years. Over these
Yeah.
past 2 years, we had a really cool commercial come out with them, just in time for the Super Bowl. Um, and so, yeah, some different things here and there, and always hoping and looking for more. So.
So, talking about Olympic dreams, payouts, and everything, I would like to go back in time, right? Like, let's start with your childhood. How did you get into synchronized swimming?
Yeah, so my mom did the sport actually growing up and then became a coach straight out of college. So I kind of grew up in the sport, around the sport, traveling with her to the pool, to competitions. So I just kind of fell in love with it from the beginning. I loved watching from the side of the pool, watching the practices and like memorizing my mom's swimmers routines and trying it, in the bathtub or in the backyard pool or on the couch.
Right.
Um, so it just kind of came to me instantly. And I did lots of other sports growing up, but eventually, you have to cut down and select what you want to focus on more. So I ended up choosing artistic swimming, and I think I loved how unique it was. It was, not a lot of people could do it, and for me that was like that really drew me in, like doing something different that not everyone else did. And then also just the fact that it combined so many different skills and sports into one. So when I had to choose,
Yeah,
I felt like I was getting to pick, best of both worlds. Like I got a bunch in one rather than having to choose one specific sport. So I thought that was pretty cool too. And then just a combination of sport and art, I think.
right, right. And considering that it is one of the toughest sports and also one of the most unique sports, did you like, how did your family support your dream? I mean, I'm sure I read up about your and your mother's relationship, how well you guys are connected and how much she supports you. But if I had to ask you about your family, did they support your dream?
Yeah, 100%. Every step of the way, they've been supportive. From the moment I started the sport, they were there at the pool watching. My brother, my dad, my mom, of course, helping me out, but also staying on the mom side of it too. Not too much coach. She was, supportive mom a lot of the time, and but also understood everything with the sport and knew kind of what I needed or didn't need at times, which was special. And when I made my first national team, they helped me make the decision on whether I wanted to move across the country and at 16, and make that big transition or kind of stay at home. And of course, they were going to support me either way, but wanted to just help me through that transition and decision. And ultimately, we did it. And it's been difficult in a lot of different ways, but they've supported me every step of the way. And yeah, 11 years later, I'm still out here training and they're still supporting me. So super special family relationship with that.
You mentioned difficulties that you faced during like growing up. Would you call them like personal struggles or financial struggles, or what exactly? Could you elaborate on that part?
Yeah, I think just, I moved away when I was 16, so I was finishing high school online, living without, away from my parents and home and family and friends, and, having to move out there in California, which is very expensive, and, as a 16-year-old, not, working a full-time job, so them having to support me from afar to make sure I have a car all situated, I have a place to live. A lot of times I was with host families when I was younger, or eventually finding apartments, dealing with all that stuff and just having them so far. So trying to kind of grow up and become an adult
Yeah,
earlier, at 16 when I was still in high school, and having to do all this stuff on my own from afar but with their help. So yeah, financial, also just difficulties of dealing with normal challenges of being away from home and adjusting to a new
right.
training regimen. So yeah, I say all the above.
So, I mean, it is safe enough to say that your entire family is into sports. That makes me wonder, how important is it for you to have your family right beside the pool deck to cheer you on in like a pressured environment?
It's so important to me. I mean, they're not at a lot of my international competitions, but usually the big ones, the Olympics, Pan American Games, and if there's anything closer to the East Coast, they'll try and come to. So I've been in plenty of situations where they haven't been there, but especially for the Olympics, it's super important for me that they're there. And just like we said, they've sacrificed so much for me and my dreams for me to get to experience the Olympics. So I feel like it's only right that they get to experience their own Olympic experience as well, and to get to watch me perform live and enjoy all the other aspects of being in the Olympic city, is a dream come true for me, for them. So
Yeah.
yeah, and especially after Tokyo and they weren't there and able to see in person. So this one is going to be, that much more special.
Right. I mean, it's obviously amazing that how much your family means to you and how well they have supported your career. But you just mentioned that you started pretty early, right? Like you are from New York and then you transitioned to California to, chase your dreams. And I think, like, if I'm not wrong, you started your first official competition in the 2014 Worlds.
My international competition?
Yeah.
Yes. 2013, I had my first one, which was Junior Pan American Games, and then 2014
Yes.
was my first Junior World Championships.
Junior Olympic,
Yeah.
Junior World. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So how was the experience? I mean, you were just starting out, just like, you still had a lot to do. So how did it feel competing at the world level at such a young age?
Yeah, it was it was really cool. It had been something that I had been dreaming of doing for a few years. You know, I tried out for a bunch of national teams, 13, 15 national teams, junior national teams, and I hadn't made it. So that was my first team that I finally made. I finally got, that USA suit, that USA cap, and it felt really cool for me to be able to represent, not just my home club and my family and my name, but the whole country at a bigger scale. And that was kind of my first step into like, wow, this life is amazing and it's difficult, but it's amazing, and I want to keep
Yeah,
going for as long as I can, and hopefully reach that Olympic level, which now I have. And yeah, it was just kind of my first step into it that made me realize like this decision to move across the country was the right decision, and I'm going to cherish this moment and keep riding this wave as long as I can, because I loved every moment of it.
right. So 2014, 2015, I think you were part of both the World Championships and then obviously Rio. So what was the exact moment when you knew that, okay, yes, I want to go to the Olympics and every moment from here on, I am going to train for Olympics?
Mm. Mm. That's a good question. I think, my first real like Olympic spark started in 2008 when I was
Yeah,
11 or 12 years old. And I was watching the games from home, and that's when it all kind of started, and that dream really lit inside me. And from then on, I find old journal entries from sixth grade or whatever, where I was writing like, I would love to trade places with an Olympic athlete, or like, I see my goals journal, and it's like to goal to make 13, 15 national team, what I need to improve.
yeah,
So it started from that point. Um, I shifted my mind, and I went into what do I need to improve to get, first step, make this team, second step, make
yeah,
this team, and eventually the Olympics. So I think it really started from then, from the Beijing Olympic Games when I watched, um, and you'll see that in videos that I have of my swims, in journal entries that I have, and all the above. So I think that's really when it started, and then I guess 2014, 2015 just made it all start to feel a little bit more in reach. Like I was still so far,
yeah,
just starting to train, but it felt real. Like I got, again, USA cap, like things start to sink in a little bit more, that like, okay, this is possible, and this is possible, not years down the line, but like in 2 years, in 1 year, like that could be me. So that's when it was really like, okay, you know, this is all starting now.
right. So 8 years of manifestation paid off in Rio Olympics. What I meant to ask is 2016 was one of your greatest career years. You got your Olympic qualification as well as you were named as the USA Synchro Swimmer of the Year.
Mhm.
But in one of your recent interviews, you mentioned about a controversial incident that is coming across the USA Anti-Doping Agency.
Um,
So
yeah, which one?
I think there was an incident where you recently mentioned that you had actually broken your foot and the to and fro between the agency and the village was difficult for you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I had broken my foot back in 2022.
So have you ever come across the US Anti-Doping Agency? Like, have you ever had the chance?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
How is the scene in swimming?
Yeah, I mean we're in the testing pool for USADA, U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, as all Team USA athletes
Yeah,
are. So I've been in that since 2013, 2014. And it's basically
right.
you have to show your whereabouts, and they're able to come and test you anytime, any day, anytime, anywhere. But yeah, I haven't had any mishaps with them. It's just um, there's sometimes when it's been more difficult if you're out of the country, you have to make sure to update it, or like I don't maybe it's the one I was talking about where I broke my foot and they came and it took me a while to like get to the door and stuff like
Yep,
that.
yep, that's the one that I was mentioning
That one.
actually. That
Yeah.
you had a difficult experience because you had a broken foot and you just had to go to and fro with them to get the test right.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing, no problems with it. More of just like when they show up to your door at a random time, a random hour. And yeah, there was one incident where I was still sleeping because I wasn't at training because I had broke my foot. And, all of a sudden my doorbell's ringing and I'm like trying to go as fast as I can. And, um, but yeah, that was about it. It's more of a funny, like
Right,
fun little story, not a bad one.
right. So you said that you have been like, you have tested since 2013. Do you think that times have changed since then when it comes to the anti-doping agency?
Um,
Like your experience or your team's experience, like you mentioned that you have to give your whereabouts, and they might just come out of anywhere to take the test, right? So sometimes it is difficult because you guys are in training or you guys are at a certain place, like you mentioned you're out of the country, so it's much more difficult. So
mhm.
would you consider that times have changed? Has it become easier compared to before?
Oh, definitely hasn't become easier. I think it's become safer and smarter, more logical in a way. They really take into account the athlete's life and they make sure that, and it's our responsibility to make sure that we're ready to be tested anytime. We know the rules, we know what's forbidden or not, we know where to look to find that info. If we, like I said, have a surgery or something like that where
Yeah,
they give you certain medication, you know what you need to do to submit that. And I think over the years it's improved because they've provided us with more resources. So, when
right.
I was first starting out, it was so new to me. Um,
Yeah,
but now that I'm, been in it for years and I've watched the evolution over years, they've really provided us with more resources on, how to check your supplements or your prescriptions, what you need to do for different things. So, I don't think it's gotten any easier. I think, especially with lots of different scandals that have been going on, they've definitely honed down on it more and made sure that you know they're on top of the U.S. athletes to be to standard because fair play is the only play. So I think
right.
it's been pretty good on education wise for us athletes from the USADA standpoint.
For sure. If like, have you been following the Chinese doping controversy that has been happening recently? I mean, you've been part of the sport for
Yeah.
quite some time, and China is one of the dominant teams in the sport. So, do you think that, like, what are your thoughts on the entire thing?
I don't look into it too much. I've seen the headlines here and there, but I haven't read up on it much. For me, it doesn't do much for me to read up on it. You see that and it's disappointing to know that had happened and is maybe happening. But the only thing I can focus on and control is me, myself, my teammates. So sticking to just our training, what we need to do every day. Is really all I can do, and hope that everyone's being truthful and fair and honest, um and yeah, and that's all I can do.
Yeah. So you haven't gotten the chance to see that Michael Phelps just testified yesterday about the whole thing.
He just no, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
behind. We're so locked
Uh,
in training mode. I don't see all the news. I'm always.
Yeah. And I mean, while we are talking about Michael Phelps, I remember that you had your fangirl moment in Rio. Would you like to tell us about it?
Yeah. I saw him. So I'm not usually like a big fangirl over celebrities or anything, but I walked into the elevator one day in the village, and I
Yeah.
looked up, and Michael Phelps was standing right there, like this huge guy. And I was like so in shock at first, and I just like looked around, was like, "Does anyone else see this?" And then, yeah, I didn't say anything. I was just like too like starstruck and nervous, and because I'd been watching him again. I watched the Beijing Olympics. That was like the main Olympics that I remember really watching, and watched him win all those medals. And so to see him live in person, and also to realize that like I am one of, we are teammates, so to say. So that was kind of like an unreal, surreal experience, where I was like, whoa, like it almost like set in for me, like I kind of made it, like this is pretty cool, besides the fact that he's there.
Yeah,
It's like, wow, like, a realization for myself on where I am now. And that was the first day, and then I saw him again the next day, and he was on his way to his last race of his career. So he had headphones on, was like in the
yeah,
zone. I was like, I can't bother him, I'm
yeah.
not going to say anything. So that was about it, but pretty cool memory for sure.
Great, great. So before we move on, considering Rio was the best year, would you like to tell us your favorite memory from Rio?
From Rio.
Yeah,
Hmm. I think it was just the whole experience. Like everything was so new to me, and from getting to have my family there, that was super special. Getting to see that, like I remember seeing them as I walked out onto the stage, and minutes before that, I was feeling so nervous. Like everything was hitting. I was just realizing like everyone's watching from home. Like this is the Olympic Games. This isn't just another competition. Like everything was just, I was also so excited. So it was like all the emotions were hitting, and then to like be able to walk out, all the cameras around, all the Olympic rings on the posters, and then see like my family straight ahead and just so happy and excited up there. Just made me feel so calm and sound inside. So I think that's probably one of my favorites. And then also getting to just hang out and celebrate with them after, because I wasn't training, didn't see them for probably a long time, and I only
yeah.
saw them from afar during the competition. So finally, once competition was over, and I was able to see them and hug them and just spend some time together, was super super great.
That's nice. That's really nice. So, going from Rio directly to Tokyo, it was a very huge transition. We all were hit with COVID. So how was time during that? Like, how did you train? What are the different challenges? Because you just went from having an entire crowd at the Olympics to almost having nobody in the stands. And with so much pressure, you had to give out your
Mhm.
best. So what was the difficulties that you faced?
Yeah, it was very difficult. I think for a lot of athletes in their own ways, right? During COVID and all the uncertainty that we dealt with the year before, even the year of leading up to, my team
Yeah,
was trying to qualify leading up to. We were in a great place, and then COVID hit. We still had some competitions and our Olympic qualifier coming up, so we went into quarantine and we did Zoom training sessions every day for 3 months, I think it was. Um, two and a half
yeah,
months and kept training because we didn't know what was going to happen. We found out during the quarantine that the games were postponed, which was
yeah.
devastating, but also like, okay, this is great for us. We just need some more time, and now we have this extra time. So it was a great learning experience and growth period for my teammates and myself, because we learned how to adapt and to take the most of everything that got thrown our way. Every challenge that came to us, we took it, flipped it around. How can we see this from a different view? How can we take it and use it to grow? And so I found, as hard as that COVID year and was, I think I grew so much as a person, and an athlete, which I think has helped make me who I am today. So super, grateful for that time period and staying connected with my team and learning from them. Um, and with them. And then yeah, the Tokyo Games were hard. No fans, quiet. My team had just missed qualifying, so it was only the duet and I, or it was only my duet partner and
Yeah.
I. So it was, sad for that reason, because my teammates weren't there to experience this, and also it was sad because my family wasn't there to experience it. So it was just weird, but trying, as always, to take the most of the situation and still realize and keep that perspective that I was still at an Olympic Games, and not just one, but it was my second one. So trying to take in all those moments as much as I could, um, and yeah, and just again learn and grow from it all.
So I think tough times started from the Tokyo Olympics, and then it went on to 2022. I mean, I would like to talk about the incident that happened in 2022 if you're
Sure,
comfortable
no
enough.
problem.
Yeah. So it was June 22, and you mentioned that you were almost on the verge of giving your best performance, like one of your best performances, and then suddenly everything changed. What exactly
Yeah,
went wrong?
so was having a great swim. It was my finals free solo event, and I finished the routine, so finished complete choreography, and then at the end, slowly just lost consciousness and sank down to the bottom of the pool. Which is when my coach noticed something was off. She quickly dove in to save me and brought me up, and eventually the lifeguard came in and they brought me to the side. So super grateful for her reaction time and care and love for me as an athlete. Because yeah, it was a scary moment, but luckily I was okay, um, have figured out a lot to be able to come back to compete and train still, and just happy and grateful that I'm still here and able to now go to Paris this summer. So
Right, right. I mean, it was a terrifying time. Your coach had mentioned that she actually pulled your finger and you just jolted up in adrenaline. Do you have any memory of that particular moment?
um not really, no. I mean, I don't remember anything until I woke up. I remember she was trying a few different things to get me to wake up, and then I remember for me, all of a sudden my senses started coming back, and everything was starting to hurt and I was feeling pain. And then I started hearing and seeing light. And then I realized, all the pain was there because I wasn't breathing. So I took a breath and then, woke up, and then I saw the medical people around me, and they were just about to put an oxygen mask on me. And I was like, no, no mask. And then, yeah, I was okay. And first thing I did was told my coach to call my mom and tell her I'm okay. And yeah, yeah.
Right. So I'm sure that, mental health has been one of the most priority things. And you almost took a year to speak up about this. So, what all happened in that 1 year? How did you cope mentally? Because it wasn't just a horrifying moment for you, but as well your fans, your family, your teammates, everybody. So, in that 9 months to like a year, what exactly did you
Yeah,
do?
I mean, I dealt with a lot of things from, being able to get released medically, and from World Aquatics for me to be able to compete again, medically, legally, all those things. So dealing with that frustrating process was hard because it's not an easy one. It's not a quick one. So it's just, required me to stay patient and to lean on my close circle to help support me during those moments. And then, getting back to training, of course, it's difficult after something so scary and life, so, uh, I guess, dangerous for my life. That situation happened. So being able to come back and train at the highest level and push my body again and push those limits that us as elite athletes are, we're just meant to, it's what we do every day. So being able to get back to that state was tough, and working with a lot of having a lot of mental support, sports psychs, different people to work with to overcome that, and having my support system of my teammates, my head coach, Andrea Fuentes, who's been a super supportive mentor
Yeah.
and kind of big sister figure for me, has helped a lot. And, uh, and yeah.
Great, great. I mean, it's been one hell of a ride, I would say. But since like I don't want to make it too negative, since 22, like since the incident, you've just been fab, right? Like getting into your third Olympics along with your teammates. It's been insane. But if I had to look back at the journey in 23, you had two world championships back to back, plus the Pan American Games. So the pressure was extremely high. How did you cope with the entire thing? I think the USA team also had a very last minute
Yeah.
qualification to the
Yeah,
games.
it was a
So,
crazy year. We had, usually world championships are every 2 years. We had one in July. We had Pan American Games in October, November, and then we had another world championships in February. So three major competitions very close together. Very major competitions, high pressure moments of Olympic qualification, right? So it was super, super challenging, but also like my team is I just have such a special group of athletes and coaches and support staff that it was just, it's one thing when you're doing it alone, but when you're in it together, you're able to just help and support each other and lift each other up in those difficult moments. So I think, the ride with I had with my team was so special. And even in those high pressure moments, I just enjoyed every moment of it. And we thrive under pressure. Almost like we had some crazy last minute changes and things that just kept getting thrown our way. Like there's never not a challenge in front of us, and our team just took it head on. And we every
Yeah,
single thing that came up, we said, "Oh, one more, oh, one more." Like it just like motivated us and like got us. Sorry, motivated us and just
yeah,
like fired us up even more. And that was very clear at World Championships. We won our first world medals in 16 years for our country, and a silver and a bronze medal. And then
yes,
Pan American Games, we were hoping to qualify and missed out and got second, which was
yes,
a heartbreak, but also in disguise was huge for us because it made us learn and grow and improve so much from that point to World Championships in February, which was our last chance qualifier. So it really put that pressure on us
yes,
even more, um, which is great because the Olympic Games is no, it's no piece of cake. It's going to be high pressure and even more so. So
yes.
I think it was all just setting us up to become the best team that we can for our moment in Paris. So um, yeah, just leaning on each other has really, really been it all.
Yeah. So 16 years of no qualification for USA, and now you guys are again trying for a medal. Who would you consider your biggest competitor at the
With the new
games?
scoring system, it's really it's anyone's game in a way. It's high risk, high reward, and
Mhm.
anything can happen, which makes the game more exciting or the sport more exciting, right? But if we go off the past competitions, China, Japan, Spain, USA have probably been getting the most podium appearances. So we've been kind of switching back and forth with all of them in the different routines, in the different events,
Yeah,
and kind of fighting for the highest difficulty and all of that. So I think those would probably be the four right now. But again, it's everyone's game, so we need to stay sharp and never never relax, which is fun.
yeah. And I'm really grateful that I have heard your story because somebody who's been in sports and who's closely watched sports so much, it's just truly inspiring. So if I had to ask you, who's your biggest idol? Like growing up or probably now, who do you consider
Mm.
as an idol?
Um, No, I have a few, but I think one that comes to mind right now, as she's been on the topic already, is just my head coach Andrea Fuentes. I grew up, watching her and her team on YouTube as a kid, watching their routines at competitions, and I always loved her team and her solos, and um, so then getting the chance to be coached by her was super exciting. And then once I met her and started being coached by her and realized that she's, an even better human than she was an athlete. And she's just an amazing leader for our team, and mentor for myself. So yeah, it's been really cool to look up to her, from a young age and aspire to be like her and to now be in such close, um, relations with her is just like a dream come true in itself, aside from becoming an Olympian and all of that. So I think that's a pretty cool and special bond that's tied together there.
Right, right. And it's sure that you have been an inspiration to a lot of people, right? So what would you like to tell the younger generation?
Yeah, I think, another thing that we talked about also, which I think is important for any younger athlete to know and understand is to never give up on your dreams because, every challenge, every difficult moment that gets thrown your way, it's going to be tough, but
Yeah,
it's for you to grow and become that best version of yourself that you aspire to be. So, every situation, every challenging moment that you go through, try and flip the switch, change your mindset, and find the growth in it. Not everything is going to be rainbows and butterflies and easy, but being able to find
yeah,
where you can grow from each situation and each challenge, and what the takeaway can be, and that no failure exists. Any failure can be, a success or a growth moment if you choose for it to be. So I think that could be helpful for anyone. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yep. For sure. And Anita, one last question. So you said that you chose the sport because it includes a lot of things, right? And I think in one of the interviews you said that you have to do a lot of gymnastics training. So that makes me curious. Have you
Haha.
ever met
I
Simone
have
Biles?
not met Simone Biles. That would be pretty cool though. Um, yeah, that would be pretty awesome. We have not though, but our gymnastics coach is actually our head coach Andrea's husband, and he's an Olympic gymnast from Spain. So
Yes.
we are super grateful to get to work with him. But yeah, hopefully maybe I'll meet Simone this year.
Yeah. Have you been following the gymnastic
Well, it's
trials
just
that are
starting,
going to
no?
start? Like, will
Yeah,
you
so
be
I
watching?
haven't checked in
Yep.
yet, but
Yep.
I was gonna check in and start watching. I've been watching, swimming, diving, track and field. So I'm excited to tune into gymnastics coming up here.
So you mentioned that you're watching track and field. Who is your favorite athlete?
um, I mean, I think all of the athletes are pretty cool. I know a few people, so I'm enjoying watching like some people that I know. But Shikari is super cool. Um,
Who
my
are they?
friend, well, he hasn't gone yet, but my friend triple jump, Chris Bernard. Excited to watch him.
Okay.
I met Craig Engels on an airplane not too long ago. He's a 1500 runner, so just watched him. Um,
Yep.
Erin Marsh, she's a heptathlete, I believe. I met her at Pan American Games. So, just seeing like faces that I've seen around has been pretty cool. And then, yeah, that's about it.
Have you met
No, I haven't met
Sakari
those
or
two either
Noah
yet,
by
but
any
hopefully
chance?
this summer. That's my goal this summer. Is like, okay, don't be shy. Like, just meet other athletes and like, So that's my goal for Paris is to not be shy and meet more athletes and take photos with them.
Right. And circling back to Simone Biles, I think that it is safe enough to call her a Taylor Swift fan. Do you consider yourself a Swiftie? Because I think you recently just mentioned that you wanted to collaborate with
um,
Travis.
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a huge Swiftie. Like I know I have teammates who are Swifties, and good friends, but like I like her. Like I've always listened to her and found her cool, of course, but I've never been like an over the top Swiftie. But yeah, it was really cool because they're in their podcast, the Kelsey brothers, talked about artistic swimming and
Yep.
how it's his favorite sport, and they would make a cool, great artistic swimming team. So we're like, hey, we'll come teach you, like you know, come to us and come watch us in Paris. So we're trying to get that connection going because if we're connected with them, that's one step closer to Taylor too. Who knows? Music videos. She might need some artistic
Absolutely.
swimmers. She might need
Yep.
some for to go on tour with her one day. I don't know. Just putting it out there.
Absolutely. I think that's all from my end. It was really a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for giving us your valuable time. And I wish you the very best for the World Cup Super Final that is happening on July 9th. And of course, the Paris
Thank you so
Olympics.
much.
We'll
It was
be
great
rooting
talking
for
to you.
you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.